The vast emptiness of space stretched out before Captain Alexander Kane, his eyes fixed on the alien fleet that hovered ominously just beyond Earth's orbit. He was standing on the command deck of Earth's most advanced warship, the Vigilant. His fingers traced the cool surface of the holographic map, where the foreign invaders' ships were highlighted in blood-red hues. The aliens, a powerful alliance of technologically advanced races, were here to conquer Earth, and they didn't take humanity seriously. To them, Earth was just another primitive planet, a place where creatures had yet to evolve beyond the most basic weapons. Inside the Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council, a group of alien leaders snickered as Earth's pathetic defense systems were displayed on a massive screen. The Canra, a cruel race of reptilian aliens, led the mocking, their cold eyes narrowed with disdain. Is this really all they have to defend themselves? One of them sneered, the sound of his voice resonating through the chamber. We could destroy them with a single strike. Another alien remarked, their voice dripping with arrogance. Such primitive technology. Earth's forces are no match for our superiority. Captain Kane watched as the Galactic Council leaders laughed, their voices booming in the command center as if they were certain of their victory. Each alien race in the Council seemed more technologically advanced than humanity, with ships that could travel faster than light, weapons capable of obliterating entire cities, and AI systems so intelligent they were considered living beings. But as Kane stared out at the alien fleet, he felt a flicker of hope within him, something the aliens couldn't see, something they had no knowledge of. Earth might have appeared weak, its military underprepared, its defenses outdated, but humanity had something far more dangerous than they realized. Kane took a deep breath, his jaw clenched in determination. He knew Earth was not without hope. For centuries, Earth's greatest minds had been secretly working on something that would change everything. It was a secret kept hidden from the entire galaxy, buried deep beneath the surface, out of reach from the prying eyes of alien invaders. The Sentinel, a city of unimaginable power and technology, was waiting for the right moment to reveal itself. And that moment was fast approaching. The aliens may have laughed at Earth's supposed weakness, but they had no idea what was coming. While they reveled in their arrogance, humanity was preparing to strike back in a way they could never predict. Kane turned away from the window, a sense of purpose filling his chest. He knew what had to be done. It wasn't going to be easy, and there would be casualties, but humanity's secret weapon would soon show itself. And when it did, the invaders would realize their mistake far too late. Prepare the fleet, Kane ordered, his voice steady, yet filled with resolve. It's time to show them who we really are. The officers around him snapped to attention, their eyes burning with the same determination. They knew that Earth's very survival depended on what was about to unfold. They had to be ready. Kane turned to face the map once more, his thoughts racing. He could already hear the taunts of the aliens echoing in his mind. Primitive, weak, helpless. But those words would soon be replaced with fear. Fear of the humans who had spent years building something that would now become their greatest weapon. At the same time, the alien fleet was preparing for its attack, completely unaware of what was about to happen. They thought they had already won. They thought the planet was theirs for the taking. But Captain Kane knew better. Humanity had a history of defying the odds, of overcoming impossible challenges. And this time would be no different. As the enemy ships moved closer, ready to initiate the attack, a single command from Kane would trigger the hidden power of the Sentinel. The ships that were once cloaked would reveal themselves, emerging from the depths of space like specters ready for battle. Kane had no illusions about the scale of the challenge ahead. The aliens were powerful, their technology advanced beyond anything Earth had ever encountered. But Kane had one thing the aliens didn't, the element of surprise. With a flick of his hand, the command was given. The Sentinel activated, and the first of Earth's warships powered up their weapons, their cloaking devices flickering as they emerged from the shadows of space. For the first time, the aliens saw them, not as a weak, helpless species, but as a force to be reckoned with. Kane's heart raced as he watched the first salvo fired from the Sentinel, the weaponized energy of humanity's most advanced technology cutting through the darkness. The alien fleet, which had been so confident in its victory, was now caught off guard. Their eyes widened in shock as the Earth ships fired with precision, their advanced energy weapons tearing into the enemy's hulls. In that moment, the alien invaders realized something. They had underestimated humanity. They had laughed at Earth's supposed weakness, but now they were fighting something they didn't understand, something far more dangerous than they could have ever imagined. As the battle raged on, Captain Kane stood firm, a calm determination settling over him. He knew that this was only the beginning. The fight for Earth's survival was just starting, and the stakes had never been higher. But the aliens were in for a rude awakening. Humanity wasn't just fighting for its survival, it was fighting for its future. And Kane, along with every human soldier, knew that they would not let their world fall without a fight. The aliens had laughed at them, but soon they would be the ones who would feel the sting of humanity's wrath. As the first explosion rocked the alien fleet, Kane's mind raced. There was no turning back now. The time for laughter had passed. The time for revenge had begun. The sound of Kane's command echoed through the command center, a sharp and decisive order that sent a ripple of anticipation through the entire crew. The first battle had begun, but this was only the opening move in a much larger game. Kane knew that the fate of Earth rested on a fragile thread, and it was time to pull that thread and reveal the true power of humanity. Activate the Sentinel. Kane's voice rang out, calm but filled with an underlying sense of urgency. The crew scrambled to their stations, each one moving with precision and purpose. On the massive screen, Earth's capital glowed beneath the threat of the incoming alien fleet, unaware of the devastating counterattack that was about to unfold. For over a century, humanity had been quietly preparing for a moment like this. Deep within the secret recesses of space, hidden behind the shadow of the moon, the Sentinel had been constructed in absolute secrecy. This city was no ordinary space station. It was an entire city, a fortress of unimaginable scale, home to cloaked warships, fleets controlled by advanced artificial intelligence, and weapons that could shatter entire fleets with a single blow. The alien fleet, still in formation and confident of their imminent victory, was utterly unaware of the coming threat. They continued their course toward Earth, thinking of nothing more than how easy their conquest would be. But Kane and his team knew the truth. The alien forces were about to be greeted by a weapon they had never encountered, something that could change the balance of power in the galaxy. As Kane watched the progress of the Sentinel's activation, a slow, deliberate smile spread across his face. The time for humanity's revenge had come. The Sentinel was now alive, and it was ready to strike. From behind the moon, the Sentinel rose into view like a giant serpent emerging from the shadows. Its massive ships, with sleek, angular designs and gleaming metal hulls, seemed to materialize out of thin air, their cloaking devices flickering and fading as they emerged from their stealthy hiding spots. The ships were a stark contrast to the primitive technology the aliens had mocked earlier. These were no mere warships. These were the culmination of over 100 years of secret development, and they were a testament to humanity's ingenuity and determination. The ships moved with a grace and speed that defied their size, their movements as fluid as water. The alien fleet, still unaware of the threat bearing down on them, continued its advance. But as the first ship of the Sentinel emerged into full view, it became clear that the invaders were about to experience something far beyond their comprehension. The largest ship, the Hammer of Earth, led the charge, its eye-controlled systems humming with precision as it calculated the most effective strike paths. Behind it, smaller but no less powerful ships followed, their sleek, futuristic designs cutting through the vacuum of space. They were guided by a central AI core, a massive and sophisticated system that had been programmed to anticipate the moves of the enemy, outsmart them at every turn, and strike with ruthless efficiency. From the command deck of the Vigilant, Kane watched the unfolding scene with a steady gaze. He knew the aliens had never seen anything like this. Their ships were large, intimidating, and equipped with advanced weapons, but none of their technology came close to what humanity had secretly built. Kane had seen it firsthand. The power of the Sentinel was beyond anything they could imagine. Now, the aliens were about to feel the full force of that power. The visual spectacle was breathtaking. As the ships of the Sentinel broke free from their cloaking, they cast enormous shadows across the dark expanse of space. The sharp lines of their sleek hulls glimmered under the light of distant stars, and every ship seemed to pulse with an energy that spoke of untold destruction. As the fleet formed up, ready to engage the alien invaders, the very air seemed to vibrate with the intensity of what was about to happen. Kane could almost feel the tension building. Every moment felt like an eternity as the Sentinel's warships aligned themselves in perfect formation. The alien fleet, still blissfully unaware, had no idea what was heading their way. They were about to find out, and when they did, they would wish they had never underestimated humanity. The first salvo came from a hammer of Earth. It was like a burst of lightning, a shockwave of energy that shot out from the ship's main guns and streaked through the darkness. The beam hit one of the alien ships with a deafening explosion. For a moment, nothing moved. Then, as the dust cleared, the alien ship was gone, reduced to nothing more than a cloud of debris floating aimlessly in space. The aliens' reaction was instantaneous. The pride and arrogance that had been so evident just moments before began to fade. Kane could see the panic starting to ripple through their ranks. They had no idea what kind of force they were up against. "Deploy the eye-controlled fleet," Kane ordered, his voice steady but commanding. "Let's show them what humanity is capable of." With that, the battle truly began. From the command center, Kane watched as smaller ships from the Sentinel broke away, each one moving with incredible speed and precision. They darted through the space between the two fleets like living creatures, their advanced AI systems calculating every possible angle of attack. The aliens fired back, but their weapons were ineffective against the advanced shielding of the Sentinel ships. One by one, the alien vessels began to fall, their weapons powerless against the combined might of humanity's secret fleet. It was a spectacle of destruction and power. Each alien ship that was taken down by the Sentinel's weapons and tactical brilliance sent a shockwave through the enemy ranks. And yet, the aliens still did not know what hit them. They had underestimated humanity's strength, and now they were paying the price. Kane felt the weight of the moment, but he didn't allow himself to bask in victory. This was only the beginning. The battle for Earth's survival was far from over. The aliens may have underestimated humanity, but now they would learn the hard way what it meant to face an enemy that had nothing to lose. With the Sentinel fully activated and the first wave of the alien fleet in disarray, Kane knew that the fight for Earth's future had only just begun, and humanity would not go down without a fight. The aliens had laughed at Earth. They had mocked humanity's power. But now, they would see what happens when you push humans too far. They would see the true strength of Earth, and they would regret underestimating humanity for the rest of their lives. The battle began with a roar of energy as the alien fleet launched their first strike toward Earth's atmosphere. Massive weapons fired in rapid succession, sending blinding beams of light tearing through the black void of space. But what the aliens did not know was that their attack would be met with an unexpected force, one that would completely turn the tide in humanity's favor. The cloaked warships of the Sentinel had already positioned themselves around Earth, waiting in silence, their advanced cloaking technology rendering them invisible to the enemy. As soon as the alien forces initiated their attack, Earth's fleet exploded into action, appearing out of nowhere with devastating speed. The darkness of space was pierced by the blinding brilliance of explosions as the humans ambushed the unsuspecting aliens, their warships emerging from the shadows like predators in the night. The surprise assault caught the alien fleet completely off guard. They fired in all directions, attempting to locate the hidden ships, but the humans were already making their move. The first wave of human warships tore into the alien forces with ruthless precision. Laser blasts, explosive projectiles, and energy beams erupted across space as the Sentinel's fleet fought back with the full might of its secret arsenal. The alien ships, though powerful, had not accounted for the sheer ferocity and ingenuity of humanity's forces. The humans' advanced weapons and the effectiveness of their robots and automated systems created a chaotic battleground. The humans were skilled and determined, and their attacks showed no mercy. Each strike from the human fleet sent shockwaves through the enemy ships, and slowly but surely, the alien forces began to fall. But it wasn't just the advanced technology that made the difference. It was humanity's relentless spirit and determination. The aliens had underestimated the strength of the human will. Each blow they took only fueled their drive to push forward and protect their planet. Captain Kane led the charge with unwavering confidence, his eyes locked on the battlefield as his ship, the Vanguard, darted through the explosions, dodging incoming fire with skill and agility. His command was clear, and his determination to defend Earth made him an inspiring figure. He wasn't just fighting for his people, he was fighting for the future of humanity itself. In the heart of the chaos, Sergeant Bonner, a seasoned and respected soldier, was fighting alongside his comrades. Bonner was the embodiment of everything that humanity stood for: bravery, sacrifice, and unyielding loyalty. He was known for his calm demeanor in the face of danger and his deep sense of duty to his fellow soldiers. But today, Bonner would become more than just a soldier. He would become a hero. As the battle raged on, Kane's ship came under heavy fire. The alien weapons were powerful, and despite the humans' best efforts, the Vanguard began to take hits. Sparks flew, and the ship shuddered with each strike. But Kane remained focused. Just as the situation seemed dire, Bonner, stationed on the lower decks of the Vanguard, saw an incoming alien ship targeting Kane's vessel directly. Without hesitation, he knew what he had to do. In a split-second decision, Bonner rushed to the ship's most vulnerable section, the engines. With no time to waste, he activated the self-destruct mechanism for that section of the ship. His actions would ensure that the blast from the explosion would take out the enemy ship aiming for Kane. As Bonner activated the detonator, he sent one last message to Kane. "I've got your back, sir. Keep fighting for Earth." Then, he set the mechanism in motion and rushed toward the evacuation pods. But it was too late. The blast from the explosion ripped through the ship, engulfing Bonner in the final moments of his life. The explosion was immense, lighting up the space around them like a supernova. The alien ship, targeting the Vanguard, was obliterated in an instant, but the loss of Bonner was felt deeply by the crew. His sacrifice had saved their commander and given humanity a fighting chance, but at a great personal cost. On the bridge of the Vanguard, Kane stood frozen for a moment, his heart heavy with grief. Bonner had been more than just a soldier. He had been a brother, a friend, and a symbol of everything humanity was fighting to protect. His loss hit Kane hard, but it also ignited a fire within him. Bonner's death could not be in vain. The aliens had taken enough from humanity. It was time to show them that they had made a grave mistake. Kane slammed his fist onto the console, his voice cold but resolute. "We're not stopping until every last one of them is gone. For Bonner. For Earth." As if answering his call, the crew of the Vanguard and the other warships of the human fleet redoubled their efforts. The enemy was relentless, but the humans were fueled by something far more powerful than just technology. They fought with a passion that the aliens could never understand, driven by the love for their home and the memory of those they had lost. The battle escalated as human warships maneuvered with deadly precision, using their cloaking abilities to strike from unseen angles. Explosions and debris filled the void as humanity's ships tore through the alien fleet, one after another. Each alien ship destroyed was a victory, but it also served as a painful reminder of the cost of this war. Every victory carried with it the weight of lives lost, including Bonner's. But despite the mounting losses, the humans pressed on. They were no longer just defending their planet. They were proving that they would never back down, no matter the odds. The aliens had laughed at them. They had mocked their technology, their defenses, their very existence. But now, humanity was showing them what it truly meant to face the wrath of a species that would fight until the very end. As Kane watched the battle unfold, his mind flashed back to the moment Bonner had sacrificed his life. That moment of selflessness, that act of bravery, would stay with him forever. It would be the fire that drove him to lead his people to victory, no matter how high the cost. The battle raged on, and humanity's fleet continued to strike with deadly force, relentlessly attacking the alien ships. Every time an alien vessel fell, it was a victory for Bonner's memory, for Earth, and for the future of humanity. But the war was far from over. It had only just begun. As the battle between Earth's fleet and the alien invaders raged on, it became clear that humanity was fighting an uphill battle. Despite the incredible technological advantage of the Sentinels' warships, the alien forces were not going to back down. In fact, they had one final weapon, a devastating piece of technology that would change the course of the entire war. The alien fleet's commander, a ruthless warlord, unveiled their secret weapon, a massive AI-controlled mothership. It loomed in the distance, its colossal form surrounded by a pulsating energy shield, radiating a terrifying aura. This mothership was no ordinary vessel. It was an advanced creation, an artificial intelligence-powered behemoth capable of annihilating anything in its path. The ship's weapons unleashed in rapid succession, firing beams of raw energy that tore through the human fleet like a hot knife through butter. The advanced shields surrounding the mothership absorbed every blast from Earth's warships, while its own energy beams caused explosions across space, incinerating ships in mere moments. In the midst of this chaos, the Sentinels' cloaking devices, once an advantage, were rendered useless. The alien mothership's eye was too advanced, detecting and disabling the cloaking technology in an instant. The human fleet, despite their earlier successes, faltered as their stealth advantage evaporated. The alien forces were no longer surprised or overwhelmed. They had countered every one of humanity's tricks. Captain Kane, watching the battle unfold, realized that they needed to act fast before the entire fleet was wiped out. There was no way to beat the mothership's sheer firepower with conventional tactics. Humanity's only chance was to infiltrate the mothership and destroy the core of its AI. If they could get inside, disable the system, and take down the AI that controlled the ship, it would be the key to turning the tide of the war. But this was no simple task. The alien mothership was a fortress, its inner corridors guarded by countless robots and automated defenses. The odds of success were slim, and the risk was higher than ever. Kane knew the mission would be a suicide run, but he also knew that humanity's survival depended on it. Without hesitation, Kane ordered his best soldiers to prepare for the mission. Lieutenant Sarah Foster, Kane's second-in-command, was one of the first to volunteer. She was a skilled fighter, known for her tactical brilliance and bravery under fire. Foster had been with Kane since the beginning, and her loyalty was unshakable. Together, they had led humanity's forces to victory in countless battles. But this mission was different. It was a mission with no guarantee of return. Foster and her team suited up, preparing for the most dangerous mission of their lives. As the team boarded one of the remaining human ships, they set their course for the heart of the alien mothership. Their task was clear: infiltrate the mothership, fight their way to the AI core, and destroy it before the entire fleet was destroyed. The journey was filled with tension, each moment bringing them closer to the mothership. The human ship approached the AI-controlled vessel, cloaked and ready for the final assault. As they neared the mothership's hull, Foster's heart raced. She could feel the weight of the mission pressing down on her. This was their last chance. The moment they entered the mothership's massive docking bay, all hell broke loose. The alarms blared, and robotic guards surged forward, firing at anything that moved. Foster and her team fought tooth and nail, using their advanced weapons and combat training to hold their ground. Laser beams and explosions lit up the air as the soldiers tore through the robots, moving as fast as they could toward the core of the ship. But the deeper they went, the stronger the resistance became. More and more robots poured out from the shadows, their advanced armor and weapons making them formidable foes. Foster's team fought valiantly, each soldier displaying incredible courage and skill as they cut through the enemy ranks. Despite their best efforts, the mission quickly turned into a bloodbath. One by one, soldiers fell as the eye-controlled defenses fought back with brutal efficiency. Foster pushed forward, determined to finish the mission, but the losses were mounting. She could hear the cries of her teammates as they were overwhelmed by the sheer force of the alien machines. As the team neared the AI core, the final battle unfolded in a narrow corridor. The last line of defense stood between them and the heart of the mothership, an army of robotic sentries that fired at will. The air was thick with the smell of burning circuitry and the sound of rapid gunfire as Foster and the remaining soldiers advanced. But despite their best efforts, they were outnumbered and outgunned. Foster's heart pounded as she sprinted ahead, determined to reach the core before it was too late. But just as they reached the final corridor leading to the heart of the ship, disaster struck. Foster's team was ambushed from both sides. Explosions rocked the corridor, and in the chaos, Foster was struck down. A robotic sentry's blast hit her square in the chest, sending her crashing to the ground. Kane's voice came through her comms just as the darkness took over. "Sarah, stay with me. We're almost there." But Foster could feel her strength fading. She knew this was the end. With her last breath, she activated the detonator on the AI core. It was a final act of defiance, a last-ditch effort to give humanity a chance. The explosion shook the mothership to its very core, and the eye-controlled defenses began to collapse. But it was too late for Foster. Her sacrifice had cleared the way for humanity's victory, but it came at a heavy cost. Kane, watching from the bridge of the Vanguard, could only grit his teeth as the blast from the explosion lit up the battlefield. His second in command, the woman who had fought by his side for so long, was gone. Her death would not be in vain, but the pain of losing her cut deep. This was the price of war, and it was a price that humanity would not forget. With the AI core destroyed, the alien mothership's defenses fell apart. The remaining alien ships scattered, disorganized, and vulnerable. Humanity had won a crucial victory, but at a devastating cost. As the remnants of the alien fleet retreated, Captain Kane made a silent vow. No matter what, he would avenge the fallen, and humanity would see this war through to its end. The war had reached its climax. Humanity's forces, despite their heroic struggle, were near the breaking point. The remnants of Earth's warships were in tatters, and only Kane's flagship, the Vanguard, remained intact. Its hull was battered and scarred from countless skirmishes, but it was still operational, and that was all that mattered. Captain Alexander Kane had led his crew through insurmountable odds, and now, with the final assault on the alien mothership looming, he was ready to lead them one last time. Kane's crew was exhausted, their bodies battered and worn from days of intense combat, but their resolve was stronger than ever. They had witnessed the death of comrades, the fall of their mighty warships, and the destruction of their home, but they had also witnessed the incredible resilience of humanity. They were the underdogs, the ones who weren't supposed to win. And yet, here they were, still standing. Their fight wasn't over. It couldn't be. Not when the fate of their species was at stake. As the Vanguard approached the alien mothership, the massive vessel looming over them, the crew braced for impact. The alien fleet had been decimated, but the mothership was still intact, and its eye-controlled systems were working at full capacity. The destruction of its AI core had caused chaos in the alien forces, but the mothership's power was far from depleted. It had to be destroyed once and for all. Kane knew that this was a one-way mission. They wouldn't be able to escape once they breached the mothership's defenses. The destruction of the AI's leadership system, which had been guiding the alien forces, was the key to victory, and Kane was determined to be the one to carry that out, no matter the cost. As they neared the mothership, the final battle began. The vast expanse of space lit up as orbital bombardments rained down on the mothership, turning the surrounding space into a spectacle of fire and destruction. The enemy's defenses were formidable, but the humans had no time to waste. Kane's team sneaked inside the massive vessel, infiltrating its labyrinthine corridors as the battle raged outside. Inside the mothership, chaos was just as fierce. Explosions shook the corridors as the crew fought their way through. Each step felt like a death march, the sound of gunfire echoing through the ship's metal walls. The soldiers fought with everything they had, determined to see this mission through. The mothership's AI-controlled soldiers and defense systems made the journey increasingly difficult, but Kane's team pushed on, fueled by the loss of their comrades and the hope of finally ending the war. Kane led the charge, his every step a reminder of the weight of his responsibility. His crew followed him without hesitation, each of them knowing that the success of the mission rested on their shoulders. They fought through corridors, disabling enemy defenses, and clearing rooms one by one. The relentless pace of battle kept them on edge, but they kept moving forward, driven by a shared goal. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, they reached the heart of the mothership, the control room, the place where the alien forces had been directing the entire war. Kane knew that destroying the mainframe here would break the back of the alien invasion. The alien forces relied heavily on their AI leadership, and without it, they would be lost. The ship would be rendered useless, and the war would be over. The control room was a vast, circular chamber, surrounded by a sea of glowing consoles and blinking lights. At the center of the room stood the alien leader, an imposing figure, cloaked in armor and surrounded by his elite guards. He had been the mastermind behind the invasion, the one who had orchestrated the destruction of humanity's defenses. His expression was one of calm confidence, but Kane could see the flicker of doubt in his eyes. The alien leader knew that his time was running out. Kane's voice cut through the tension as he stepped forward, his weapon raised. "It's over. Your forces are defeated. Your AI is destroyed. You have lost." The alien leader stood motionless, his eyes narrowing. "You think you've won, human," he said, his voice cold and disdainful. "Even without our leadership, the galaxy will fall to our forces. We will rebuild." Kane shook his head. "Not this time." With a final burst of determination, Kane's team disabled the alien leader's defensive systems and launched their final assault on the mothership's mainframe. The explosion that followed shook the entire ship, sending shockwaves through the hull. The massive structure groaned as its core systems failed, its lights flickering out as the once imposing vessel began to fall apart. The alien leader, realizing the futility of resistance, dropped to his knees. "Surrender," Kane ordered. "Your forces are gone. It's over." The alien leader's gaze remained defiant, but it was clear that he knew he had no choice. The war was over. With the destruction of the mothership's mainframe, the alien forces were leaderless and scattered. The human fleet, battered but victorious, watched as the alien flagship drifted helplessly in space, its once mighty form now a symbol of defeat. Kane stood in the midst of the wreckage, staring at the alien leader. The cost of this victory had been immense. Countless lives had been lost, including some of his closest friends. But in that moment, as he watched the alien leader kneel in surrender, Kane knew that humanity had triumphed. It had been a long and brutal fight, but Earth had proven that, even against the most advanced forces in the galaxy, humanity would never back down. As the remaining alien ships retreated into the depths of space, Kane made a silent vow to those who had fallen. The sacrifice of his crew and his comrades would never be forgotten. Humanity had endured. And now, the galaxy would know that they were not to be underestimated. Earth's story was far from over. This victory would be the first step in a new chapter, one where humanity would rise to its true potential, not just as survivors, but as true warriors of the stars. The victory over the alien forces had been hard-earned, and its implications rippled through the galaxy like a shockwave. Earth, the once derided and forgotten planet at the edge of the known universe, was no longer seen as weak or insignificant. The aliens who had invaded and mocked humanity now retreated in humiliation, their pride shattered beyond repair. In the void of space, their warships drifted away, beaten and broken, as the human fleet watched them vanish into the darkness. The tide had truly turned. This was more than just a battle won. It was a turning point in galactic history. Earth's victory became a legend, a story whispered across the stars as a reminder that even the most advanced and powerful civilizations could be brought to their knees. The galaxy was now looking at humanity with newfound respect and fear. No longer would Earth be dismissed as a primitive planet. Humans had proven themselves to be a force to be reckoned with, capable of standing up to the mightiest empires in the galaxy. At the heart of this new power stood the Sentinel, the hidden space city that had become Earth's most powerful symbol. It wasn't just a city. It was a testament to human ingenuity, resilience, and strength. From its cloaked ships to its AI-controlled fleets, the Sentinel had played a pivotal role in turning the tide of the war. Now it stood proudly in the skies, a shining beacon of human achievement and a reminder of what could be accomplished when humanity came together. But as the celebrations began, Captain Alexander Kane and the surviving crew members of the Vanguard couldn't help but feel the weight of the cost. Their victory had come at an unbearable price. Sergeant Bonner, a beloved member of their team, had sacrificed himself to protect Kane's ship during the early days of the conflict. And then there was Lieutenant Sarah Foster, Kane's second-in-command, whose death during the final assault had left an irreplaceable void in his heart. The survivors stood together, their faces somber as they gathered in the memorial hall aboard the Vanguard. The names of those who had fallen were etched into a wall, each one a reminder of the bravery and sacrifice that had made this victory possible. Kane stood at the front, his gaze fixed on the memorial. His heart was heavy with grief, but it was also filled with a sense of pride. Bonner and Sarah's sacrifices had not been in vain. They had given everything for humanity's survival, and their memory would live on in the hearts of those who fought beside them. Kane took a deep breath, looking out the window of the Vanguard at the wreckage of the alien fleet and the beauty of Earth's now peaceful skies. For a brief moment, he allowed himself to savor the victory. Humanity had survived, and they had proven to the galaxy that they were no longer the underdogs. They had emerged from the ashes of war as victors, and that victory would change everything. But the peace that followed was short-lived. As Kane stood in the quiet aftermath of the battle, a new and ominous signal interrupted their comms. It was a warning from the deep void of space, something no one had anticipated. An ancient alien empire, long hidden from the Galactic Council, had sent a message directly to Earth. The transmission was brief but chilling, a single phrase that sent a shiver down Kane's spine. "We are coming." The message sent ripples of unease through the surviving crew, and across the galaxy, the news spread like wildfire. For the first time in decades, the peaceful galaxy was about to be shaken once again. An ancient and powerful force, one that had stayed hidden for centuries, was now ready to reveal itself. No one knew what to expect, but one thing was certain: humanity's fight was far from over. Captain Kane stood at the comm station, staring at the incoming message. His mind raced with the possibilities. Who were these aliens? What did they want? And most importantly, how could humanity prepare for a threat that no one had ever seen before? There were so many questions, and very few answers. He turned to his officers, his face set in a determined expression. "Prepare the Sentinel. We need to be ready for whatever comes next. This time, we won't be caught off guard." The officers nodded in agreement, and the crew sprang into action, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Kane felt the weight of the responsibility on his shoulders once again, but he also felt a deep sense of resolve. The war against the alien invaders had proven that humanity was capable of great things. They had faced impossible odds and come out on top. And now, with the threat of an ancient empire looming over them, they would do it again. As the Vanguard and the Sentinel prepared for the unknown, Kane's mind drifted to the memory of those they had lost. He knew that Bonner and Sarah would never be forgotten, their sacrifices fueling the determination of every person who had fought alongside them. And now, as humanity faced an even greater threat, their legacy would live on in the hearts of those who had survived. The stars outside the window of the Vanguard seemed to hold their breath, as if the galaxy itself was waiting for the next chapter in humanity's story to unfold. Earth had shown the galaxy that it would no longer be an afterthought. They had proven their strength, their resolve, and their courage. And now, they were about to face a new challenge. A challenge that would test everything they had fought for. Captain Kane stood tall, his gaze fixed on the horizon. "This is just the beginning," he said to himself. "We've won one battle, but the war is far from over, and we're ready." As the lights of the Sentinel flickered in the distance, Kane felt a surge of hope. Humanity had faced the impossible, and they had emerged victorious. Now they would face the unknown, and no matter what happened, they would stand united. The galaxy had underestimated them before, and it would do so again. But this time, humanity would be ready.